Well, I'm going to share with you a strategy called the SOS. And we teach this to Olympic athletes, U.S. Army commanders. I taught this to the surgeons and Fortune 500 executives from many different organizations, as I said, including some of your clients. It's not complicated. It's very simple. It's just tough to do sometimes. So the first S is stop. Right? We're not actually fighting tigers. Even the surgeon said, unless there's an emergency on the operating table, I don't have to respond right away. During the operation, pre-op, post-op, I can step back. Now, in that moment where you've been triggered and the chemicals are running in your body and your brain, it's kind of hard to do because your emotional or limbic system is really now in control. It's driving your behaviors, your tone, how you affect people. So there's a couple things you can do that are more physical in nature. For example, take a drink of water. Do you know you can't cry and drink water at the same time? Which maybe isn't too important in business. Great strategy if you have kids or grandkids. Until they figure out that's your strategy. No, Daddy, I don't want water. Okay, well, it works for a while with kids. Another thing you can do is your limbic system will actually start curling your hands. Now, it won't curl it up into a full ball unless you're having a full hijack, but even in a low degree, so open your palms. I'll just open my palms and rest them on my lap. By the way, if you can get up and walk away without it impacting the person you're walking away from, that's actually ideal. Go work out, go listen to music, go pray, go listen, whatever works for you. But there's sometimes we're in meetings where we can't just get up and walk away. We're on a conference call or something, right? By the way, what's the strategy when you get that really annoying email and you know they're wrong and they're and you're typing, type, and you're about to hit reply to all? What do you do with that email? Oh, I love the send it guy. We got work to do, buddy. You and me both, man. I'm like, okay, they need to hear this right now. What I'm here to tell you is in that moment, that's not you at your best. One of the keys in this idea of connection is as you walk away from this session, when you think about how are you going to get people engaged and excited, it's going to be less about kind of what you're saying, how excited you're getting. That's going to be important. But where you need to connect is what does it mean for them? Great, we're having this big product launch. I'm really excited that Bill's excited about it. But what do people really think about? What does it mean to me? So you have to think about all the people on your team. How can you make this meaningful to them? Roger talked about being meaning makers. Even if they're not involved directly in the project, how can you make this exciting for them? Make them feel relevant, important. That's what, when you guys were talking a little earlier about your exceptional leaders made you feel like you were relevant, important, you mattered, you meant something. That's what an exceptional leader does when they connect. So if you're going to be successful at motivating and inspiring the rest of this organization, it's going to have a lot to do with intelligently managing emotions, both your own and all the people that you work with. Now, how many here, put your hand up if you've heard of the concept of emotional intelligence, or EQ. Okay, keep your hand up if you have any. Well, we'll figure that one out a little bit later. What we are going to talk about is leveraging this concept of emotional intelligence in order to cultivate and create that power to win culture. Now, how many of you are sitting there thinking, oh boy, emotional intelligence, this is going to be some kind of kumbaya, soft and squishy type session, right? Well, what Wes didn't mention in my introduction is that I have degrees in mathematics and computer science. I'm not that guy. Notice there's no Kleenex boxes on your tables. Okay? What I'm interested in, I'm an analytical by nature. I'm a former PL1 and COBOL programmer, and I know some of you know what that's all about. I want to know the research and the science behind something before I'm really going to engage it and apply it. So the approach we're going to take to this concept of managing emotions, which is so important for you, is going to be a more analytical and scientific approach. Why is this hard? Why is it that sometimes smart people fail? Why don't, you probably all have met people either here at NASA or you've met people that you went to college with who were just super bright. I know a few. And you thought, they're going to be the next, leader of the command control center or whatever it is, and they don't do that well. An inability to manage change. Now, I know you don't have much change going on here at NASA, do you? No, you've got an incredible amount of change. By the way, in terms of the impact of change, I love the story of the astronauts who don't like the badge situation. These are individuals who can handle an incredible amount of pressure, who have been through some of the most challenging, uncertain, times in their lives, yet a new badge system throws them off. You see how change affects us? Isn't it just amazing?
The question is, how will you respond to this challenge? Are you going to get frustrated, get negative, kind of give up? Or are you going to step up and play a big game? How will you manage those emotions to get performance? And there's no better place to see the impact of emotions on performance than in sports. So for those of you at the golf tournament yesterday, I mean, you see one of those guys hit a bad shot, and all the pros do. Are they walking up to the next one, beating themselves up about that bad shot, right? Frustrated? And if they are, how good are they going to be at hitting the next shot? It's going to be tough. You all know that. Now, my company, IHHP, in addition to working with sales teams like yourselves, we work with executives of Fortune 500 companies, the US Navy, the US Army. We also work with elite and Olympic athletes. And we've been to the last 4 Olympic Games. Here's what's interesting. During the 2-week period of the Olympic Games, there are more world records set than in the previous 4 years. Makes sense, right? The competition goes up, the pressure goes up, you get best performance. Here's what's really interesting. During that same 2-week period, there are more personal worsts set than in the previous 4 years. Interesting, isn't it? Some athletes, all of whom have trained for a specific behavior all their lives, face that tension, that pressure, and they fall apart. Some of them fall apart. It gets them. Others excel. This is your opportunity to take this challenging situation and make that choice to manage that emotion to get great performance.